What is up, Insaners, and welcome to another video of the Fantasy Premier League 2021-22 season. In this one, guys, we'll talk about our team for the upcoming game week, Game Week 4. We'll end the video with the best captain picks for the week, so make sure you hit the like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel as well. If you're wildcarding this week, or if you have dilemmas like which Wolves defender to go for, what to do with Ronaldo, the Ronaldo versus Lukaku debate, make sure you watch our videos that we did earlier in the week. Both are quite detailed videos and they should help you take the right call. I'll add the links at the end of the video as well as in the video's description, so do check them out. With that, let's get into today's video. We'll quickly cover how we did in Game Week 3 and then move on to our team for Game Week 4. So Game Week 3 was an okay week for us, 63 points, now 262 points in 3 weeks so far, guys. That is overall pretty good, but an average week Game Week 3 was. We did drop down to 24k from 13k, but I think we would have taken that even when the game started. Overall, I'm slightly disappointed that our rank dropped a little bit, but 24k, guys, at this time of the season, I think it's pretty good. Now coming to our team, and only one clean sheet with Shaw here. Now Shaw also got a bit lucky, guys, considering that how Wolves played. I think they got a lot of chances. Traore in particular looked pretty good, and we'll cover him in a bit of detail when we talk about our team selection. But in general, I think Wolves played really well, and they were a bit unlucky not to score in that game. Now, as what Shaw did last week, guys, Trent this time, he didn't get a clean sheet, but he did end up getting a couple of bonus points. So that was pretty decent. And the James red card, guys, that definitely helped and played a part in the whole thing. I think Chelsea were playing really well till James got a red card, and the result could have been a bit different if that red card didn't happen. Sanchez again gave us 2 points, not really much to talk about there, and Livramento got a point. We weren't really expecting him to do that much, so I think it's okay. Okay in terms of our defense, not much happening, and let's see our midfield now. Now midfield was a slightly different story, with Salah scoring a penalty against Chelsea, and guys, Greenwood also got that winning goal against Wolves, so that really helped. But I think other than that, players like Rafinha, Fernandes and Benrahma, they all blanked, and this is I think where we lost out a bit. I mean, clearly the Gundogan to Rafinha move didn't work out, and that was the difference between us and the green arrow this week, guys. Other big hitters like Son, they also scored and did pretty well in Game Week 3, and that also didn't help. In attack, I think the Antonio pick worked really well, and you got a massive 22 points from captaining him, guys. I think that was the absolute right call. He's the man in form, and he gave us a huge haul and saved our game week. Ings was okay in the Villa game, guys, and at least he got an assist to give us a much required boost. Overall, I think things could have looked pretty bad, but the Man United result and Antonio saved us and our game week, guys. Now let's look at our team for Game Week 4. Now this lineup might change, guys. It is because of the Brazil news. Now for those of you who do not know what is happening, it's very much looking like FIFA will try and enforce a ban on some Brazilian players who didn't play for the country in the international break. Now there are a lot of players in the list, but the one that matters for our own team, guys, is Rafinha. Now right now he's in our team and we are playing a 3-5-2, but this could easily become a 4-4-2. Now in goal we have Sanchez, guys. Brighton have looked okay in defense so far. They are playing this game against Brentford. Now Brentford also hasn't scored a lot of goals, so there is a chance that there could be a clean sheet for the Brighton defense and Sanchez in particular. Only my only worry here is that Sanchez is more like a keeper who will give you 2 points or 6 points, right? He doesn't make a lot of saves, and that is where, a lot of people would struggle to keep him in their team, especially if you are on a wild card. But I think if you don't have a wild card and you would definitely have other fires to put out, I think Sanchez is okay. He can get a clean sheet. Of course, you can go with the likes of Raya as well as Jose Sa, even a Melier if you are on a wild card. But if you're not, I think it's better to save that transfer, not make it on a goalkeeper, and then focus elsewhere. Now, as I just said, if you are in a wildcard, Raya looks like the best option to go for in the 4.5 million category, guys. I think Brentford as a defense, they are conceding a lot of shots, something similar to what Leeds generally does, but Leeds on the other hand also concede a lot of big chances. I think that is where Brentford are a bit different. Brentford generally haven't conceded a lot of big chances this season so far, and I think in general, Raya could get a lot of save points because a lot of teams would be taking shots and they would be shots on target as well. So if you're looking at the overall ceiling and if you're looking at the set and forget option, guys, you could go for someone like a Raya. Of course, the fixtures become a little tricky in the next coming game weeks, but I think at this particular price point, you're not really looking at the clean sheet potential, or you're not really looking at a lot of fixtures, right? Because you would want to have a keeper who would not probably give you 2 or 6, but probably give you the likes of, let's say, 3 points, 4 points, or maybe even an 8 or 9 or even 10 pointer, right? When that particular team gets a clean sheet, of course, the keeper would be making a lot of saves, and then you also get a chunk of bonus points, right? So if you look at all of these combinations, I think Raya is a decent option to go for. Now, if you're on a wildcard and if you can spend a bit of money here, you could go for someone like a Jose Sa from Wolves or even a Melier from Leeds. Now, if you're looking at a clean sheet potential, I think Jose Sa would be the better option to go for. Yes, Wolves haven't really kept a lot of clean sheets. In fact, they've not really kept a single clean sheet so far. But I think the likes of Melier, and we've seen how the Leeds defense is. You don't really expect a lot of clean sheets from Leeds. Yes, they improved a bit, especially against the stronger teams last season. But I still feel Jose Sa would be a longer set and forget option, especially if you are on a wild card. Of course, both of these keepers are in that 5 million keeper category. And if you don't feel comfortable spending that additional 0.5 million, and if that is the difference between getting someone like a Ronaldo or even someone like a DCL, right? If you have enough money and if that is the money that you have to get someone like a DCL over some other forward, I think that is a better area to invest rather than going for a 5 million goalkeeper. Now, in the back four, guys, we have Trent, and I think he's looking like the must-have defender right now. In fact, he's probably looking like one of the only defenders that I would have, irrespective of whether I'm playing the wildcard or whether I'm just using my regular transfers. He's top for crosses attempted so far. He's top for chances created as well as expected assists, which is XA among all defenders. And when we talk about chances created, right, he's the top in terms of all FPL players right now with 15 chances created so far. So I think those are pretty good numbers for a defender, considering that he's a premium defender, because Trent is a premium option. Considering that he's a good defender, he's a premium option, and he can easily compete with a lot of 7 to 7.5 million midfielders as well, right? Because he's in that similar price bracket. So I think he's a definite must-have. I don't think so you should transfer him out even if you are wildcarding, especially with Leeds, Crystal Palace, and Brentford in the next 3 games. I think he's looking set for some really good FPL points, and I would definitely have him in my team. Now, Shaw is a bit tricky because you can easily have a debate of not having him when you're wildcarding specifically, or you could easily have him for the next couple of game weeks when United look to get some good goals, look to get some attacking points, can also get a couple of clean sheets in those fixtures, right? So I think I personally am holding Luke Shaw. I feel with Ronaldo coming in, I think, and with the kind of crossing ability that Shaw has, there could be some attacking returns. There could be a few assists for Shaw in the coming games. He can also score a goal. We've seen that, though his goal threat is a lot lesser than his creative output. But I still feel it's okay having Shaw over the next couple of game weeks. I think you can easily transfer him out for someone like a Reece James, for example, in game week 7, when Chelsea have really good fixtures and there's a good fixture swing for Chelsea. Defensively, I think Chelsea is still the best team in the league. You could easily argue having someone like a Rudiger, for example, right now, especially when you're wildcarding. And that's a completely correct strategy and the right way to look at things. But I still feel if you're not wildcarding and if you have other fires to put out, I think having Luke Shaw is okay. I think his crossing and his overall output could benefit Ronaldo to get some goals and could also give him a few assists as well. Now, the third option that we have right now in our team, guys, is Ben White from Arsenal. A lot of people have already lost their faith in the Arsenal team, guys. Whether we talk about defense, whether we talk about the attack, I think a lot of people have already sold the likes of Ben White, but I think he's still a decent option to go for. If you look at Arsenal's next few fixtures, they are facing Norwich and Burnley in Game Week 4 and Game Week 5. Yes, Game Week 6, Tottenham could be a bit tricky. Then they have Brighton in Game Week 7. Then again, Game Week 8 and Game Week 9 are Palace and Aston Villa, guys. So these are fixtures that, could easily give them a clean sheet. I think we cannot read too much in the first few games that Arsenal have played so far. Yes, they've looked really bad. Yes, defensively also they've struggled. But I think a lot of players were missing in the Arsenal team. Some because of injuries, some because of the COVID regulations and all of that. I think Ben White plays this particular week, so that is something that we'll get out of the window here, because I think a lot of people are having doubts whether he'll be returning to the playing 11. I think Ben White will be playing in the game against Norwich. I think he makes that defense a lot stronger than what it is right now. And Norwich hasn't really fired all cylinders or really done that great in terms of their attack, right? So there could be a chance that Ben White gets a clean sheet. So I think he could punish whosoever has sold him so far, and I think it's a decent option to have. You also see the value, right? He's only 4.4 right now in the game, and I think that is great value for a team like Arsenal, for a defender of Arsenal team, and I think I would definitely have him. Now, right now we're playing a 3-man back, but in case if Rafinha gets banned, I think Luke Ayling will come in Now again, it's not ideal because Ayling would be facing Liverpool. Now I'm not expecting Ayling to keep a clean sheet, Leeds keeping a clean sheet against that Liverpool attack. I don't think so that is happening. So that's probably a couple of points, might be a single point or might not even be any points, right? Again, that's not ideal, but do I really need to take a wild card or do a wild card for this particular week, considering that I only have to make a couple of transfers? Maybe not. I still think I'm a couple of moves away from using the wildcard. Now, in case if you have this conundrum where, you have a lot of other transfers to make, plus you have this whole Rafinha situation and you probably got Ayling, or you might not have a bench to play if Rafinha doesn't play, then probably you could look at, using the wildcard. But in general, for me, I think I will be playing Ayling. Irrespective of, if the match is against Liverpool, that is absolutely fine. I think for me personally, saving that wildcard for probably game week 7 or 8 or even later could be the ideal move. Now coming to midfield, guys, and this is where things get a bit interesting right now. So we have Salah, and I think he's a set and forget option for me. I don't think so we are selling him, or we are tinkering with Salah in any of our teams, in any of our squads that we probably will make. I think he's a great captaincy option, and we'll talk about captaincy in a little bit. But I think he's a great captaincy option against Leeds. There's a good chance that he can get goals. He's also on penalties, and I think Salah is going nowhere. Now coming to Greenwood plus Benrahma, that particular combination, I think that also looks a bit nailed for at least another week. I think Greenwood plays this week. A lot of people are asking me whether Greenwood would start, considering that Ronaldo is coming in. You have the likes of Sancho, who also will be playing regularly. We know that he'll be a regular starter for United. So I think right now there are a few doubts over Sancho starting, considering that he's looked a bit off. He also might be carrying a knock, so Ole might not risk him, and probably he's on the bench or he's not even in the squad for the game. In general, I still feel Greenwood plays probably on the right, if not on the left. I'm pretty sure Ronaldo is going to play up top as the number 9, so that spot obviously goes. So whether he's as effective on the right or on the left is again something that we need to see, and we can only assess that in the next couple of weeks. But I think Greenwood for now, at least for the next couple of weeks, looks like that he's going to start. The second player, Benrahma, guys, I think he's also a decent shout for this particular week at least. I know a lot of people don't have him in their teams when they are wildcarding, but if you're not using a wildcard, guys, and if you're just making regular transfers, I think it's okay to have him for at least another week. I think this particular week, Southampton, that's going to be a good fixture from an attacking perspective. Southampton generally concede a lot of shots, concede a lot of chances, etc. So I think, that really plays into the hands of someone like a Mikel Antonio or even a Benrahma. Yes, we were all very excited about how he started. Of course, we knew that that run or that kind of scoring or that kind of numbers are not going to stay for a very long time. But I still feel he's a good option to have in your team for this week. Now, the other option is Rafinha, guys. If he doesn't get that ban right, I'm pretty sure he's going to play this week in my team. I think he's still a better option, considering that Leeds are playing Liverpool. I think he's still a better option than someone like a Luke Ayling, because I don't think so Ayling will get that clean sheet. But Rafinha, on the other hand, he can get an attacking return. So I'll at least take that chance and play Rafinha if he's not getting that ban. Let's say if he does get that ban, then as I mentioned, Ayling will come in place of Rafinha. Coming to our last option, guys, and this is where, I'm very, very excited to kind of see how things pan out, because right now we have Bruno Fernandes. I know he's being sold by a lot of managers, or might not be the best FPL asset, considering that he's 12 million in that sort of a price range. And I kind of agree to that, because when Ronaldo is coming into the team, right, of course he's going to play in the central role. He's a goal machine, we know that. We don't think so that he's going to be very much involved in terms of creating chances for the likes of Bruno Fernandes to finish. I think it's going to work the other way around, where the likes of Bruno, try to create more for someone like Ronaldo to finish. Now, whether Bruno is going to be on penalties or set pieces, again, nobody can really confirm that, right? We can all make our speculation, we can all make our assumptions that, considering that Ronaldo is the main player, he is the star player, and he's going to be on set pieces, he's going to take those penalties as well, considering that he's done that for Real Madrid, considering that he's done that for Juventus as well. I still think it's too early to say that he's going to be on everything. If he's on set pieces, if he's on penalties, that significantly reduces Bruno Fernandes' appeal, and you can easily argue that Fernandes is not worth that 12 million. And I think a lot of people are already transferring him out, and this is also something that is in our mind right now. Now, when you transfer out Fernandes, of course, the ideal move would be to get someone like a Ronaldo and then replace Fernandes with someone, let's say, in the 6 to 8 million, that sort of a price range. Because if you are short of money, you can easily make up for that with that Fernandes downgrade. I think we've covered the Ronaldo Fernandes debate and this whole conversation in one of our earlier videos, guys. I won't be covering that in this particular video, but if you want to go through that, do make sure that you check out that video. The link will be in the description. Now we'll talk about what replacements we have for Fernandes in our transfer plan section. But I think right now Fernandes would be the one, in case if the Rafinha ban doesn't happen, Fernandes would be the one that makes way this week. Now talking about our forwards, guys, and I think in terms of forwards, Antonio is definitely a must-have. I think he's not going anywhere like Salah, like Trent. I think he's a definite must-have in my particular team. I don't see a lot of other forwards scoring a lot more than what Antonio can give me right now. So he definitely stays. Now the other transfer, the other option that we have here is Danny Ings. I think Danny Ings has not really done so much. Yes, he's given us a goal. He's also given us an assist. Those are decent returns when you look at the overall picture, but his underlying stats have been pretty poor. I think Villa in general have struggled when you talk about attack or even defense. And considering that you don't have the likes of Martinez, considering that you don't have the likes of Mings as well, you have a couple of attacking players also missing. And the fixture being against Chelsea, that pretty much, makes up my mind that I have to transfer out Ings this particular week. He's already had a price fall, I think, and I think he will definitely be my transfer out this week. Now let's talk about our transfer plans, right? What are we doing? Who are we replacing? Who are we selling? And who are we getting into our team for Game Week 4? Now when we talk about transfer plans, I think I've already mentioned that Danny Ings would be the one who will make way for one of the forwards this particular week. Now the easy transfer or the obvious transfer could be selling Danny Ings and then getting Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Right now Dominic Calvert-Lewin is probably carrying a threat that he might not feature in this particular game week, but I think he should be okay. I think he should be fit and he should start the game. Now that makes things very, very clear and very interesting, guys, because with this move I might not be able to get Ronaldo for at least 1 week. So I have enough money to do the DCL to Ings move, but then again, if I have to do another transfer or someone else in midfield, let's say if I have to replace Rafinha, I'll probably have to take a hit for that. I think Ings to DCL is going to be a very popular combination this week, and it's absolutely right. It's okay to not get Ronaldo, and we'll kind of cover that right now. But in general, I think DCL is a great option. He's a great pick. He's going to be Everton's main man, guys. A lot is going to flow through DCL. I think he's going to get a lot of chances. Lukaku is a great threat from set pieces as well as his crossing ability. We have seen that he has great crossing ability and DCL could benefit from that. In general, I think the way Everton plays, it plays into the hands of Dominic Calvert-Lewin because he will get chances, he will get the opportunity to take a shot, to even go for those headers and get goals. So I think that is a decent move to go for. The next 3 fixtures are also looking good. They have Burnley next, then they have Villa and Norwich. So I think all these fixtures are good fixtures and DCL can easily score in all 3 games, guys. Now, in case if we don't go for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, if we go with a more emotional, more nostalgic sort of a pick, which I think a lot of people are going for this week, we can also get Ronaldo in our team. Now, there's a lot of hype around Ronaldo and what he can do. That's his first game in the Premier League, back at United. So there's a lot of expectation. There's a lot riding on, this particular week. Of course, United playing Newcastle, makes things a lot easier because Newcastle have been pretty bad defensively. They've conceded a lot of chances. They've conceded the most big chances as well. So there is an opportunity that Ronaldo can get something from the game. Newcastle have also conceded penalties in all of their games right now, guys. So if United get a penalty, and again, that's a big if United get a penalty, I think Ronaldo is going to be the one who takes this penalty, and that really adds to his overall appeal. According to the bookies as well, he has 71% chances of scoring in this particular week, and that's the highest for all players in Game Week 4. Of course, the idea is to not make an early move. I'm not transferring him in just yet. I think I'm going to wait for the press conference and United's presser and see what Ole comments in terms of him starting. And once I kind of have that confidence, then I'll be making this transfer. I personally feel he still starts. I don't think so. It's too big of an occasion, right? He's going to be unveiled that particular day. I think he starts that game. It's at home. It's at Old Trafford. I think it's going to be a huge game for United as well as Ronaldo. Now, whether that's a mandatory move to make, I clearly don't think so. Even if you go for someone like a DCL, I think that is also fine for the next 2 to 3 game weeks because in most of the cases, you would be getting Ronaldo for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then a switch to Lukaku in game week 7 looks like the ideal move to go for. So you're not really going to get Ronaldo for a lot of weeks. Again, are you really captaining him for all weeks? I don't think so because Salah has great fixtures. Salah has Leeds in this particular week. Then he has Crystal Palace and Brentford in the next 2 weeks. So that also kind of, shifts the balance in terms of captaincy for Salah, right? You can easily captain Salah. Would you get Ronaldo for a hit or not? Again, you could easily cover that hit considering that, he might take penalties, United might get one, and he can also score from open play because he's a goal machine, right? So you can easily cover that hit. So I think for a -4, it looks okay, considering that you will be shifting out Bruno Fernandes. But if you don't do that, right? If you don't feel that, you should take a hit, you want to wait for at least a week, if not more. You want to see how United plays. You want to see how Ronaldo fits into the whole system. Having Bruno Fernandes not going for Ronaldo and not making that transfer, that is also absolutely fine, guys. Now, let's say if I get Ronaldo in my team for this particular week, I of course will have to transfer out Bruno Fernandes. There's no way I'm transferring out Salah against Leeds. So my transfer out would be Bruno Fernandes. Now, who can I get in terms of Bruno Fernandes, right? There are a lot of options. There are a lot of ways to look at this. I can easily get someone like a Diego Jota, guys. I think I'm still waiting for that official Liverpool news in terms of how much time will Firmino miss. There's a good chance that he misses at least the next couple of games, if not more. And if I think that is the case, I think Diego Jota would be a great pick to have. He's already shown what kind of performances he can give for Liverpool this season. I think he's a proven asset. Yes, there's always this chance that, he might get benched, he might get limited minutes. I think that is why his ownership is a little lesser than what you would expect. But I think he's still a very good option to go for when it comes to attack. Now, we did the same thing last week where we shifted out Tsimikas because I think a lot of people won't be able to get Jota because of that Tsimikas move. I personally don't have that problem. I can easily give that third spot to Diego Jota in my team, and I think he's the favorite option to go for this particular week. Now, if you're not convinced with Jota, if you feel that, it's a transfer happening in the future, you'll have to waste one transfer, shifting him out when the likes of Firmino kind of come back into the system, I think you can easily go for Ferran Torres as well. Now, Ferran Torres has shown that, he has the ability to get good scores, big scores in FPL terms. My only issue with Ferran Torres is that he started 3 games over the international break, and I'm not very confident that he's going to start the next 2 to 3 games for Man City. Now, this is especially when the Champions League is kind of coming back. You'll also have the Carabao Cup game, and I don't think so Ferran Torres starts all the games. Plus, I was also reading that the likes of KDB and Foden can get back in the next game. They can have substitute appearances if they don't start the game. I think that reduces the appeal of Ferran Torres for me. I've already kind of seen that last season and this season as well with the likes of Mahrez, with the likes of Sterling as well, guys. These guys are rotation prone. They can get rotated, and we've all seen how Pep Roulette disturbs our game and spoils the FPL game for us, and I personally don't want to go there. In case if you feel that you can crack the roulette, I think you can go there, but personally, I'm not considering Ferran Torres for my team. Now, guys, there's another short-term transfer, or there's probably an alternate strategy to this. If you don't want to go for the likes of Jota, you can easily go for someone like a Sarr or even a Gray from Everton. Now, my plan mostly is to go for Diego Jota for this particular week and get Ronaldo as well. Take a hit in most probability. But let's say if I get Diego Jota and we get the news that Firmino is probably back for game week 6, I can easily shift him for a Sarr or a Gray. Both have great fixtures that week. Now, Sarr has Leeds, which we've seen again, they can concede goals. And Gray has Norwich again, who has conceded the most goals so far in the league. Now, you can easily argue that you can go for someone like a Sarr or a Gray in the very beginning and avoid an additional transfer. But I generally feel that if Diego Jota starts the next 2 games, I think the upside is huge with them. I don't think so a lot of people will be making that move because they will have Tsimikas as that third option. So the idea here is to get ahead of the curve. Of course, Diego Jota is still owned by about 15 to 20% FPL players, but I still feel that's going to be major and could give me huge points if I'm able to make that transfer. Yes, you can easily have Sarr, especially when you are a little budget constrained. If you are having limited budget, I think Sarr is also a decent option to go for. Now, Watford have Wolves, Norwich, Newcastle and Leeds in the next 4 games. I think there's a good chance that Sarr can get attacking returns from all of these games, guys. Yes, Wolves have looked impressive in their games so far, yet they've still conceded goals in all the 3 games, and I still feel Sarr can get something from that game as well. We all know that Sarr is Watford's main player, and he can also be on penalties as well, so I think that also could be a decent move. Now, if we get that information, if we get that news that Jota might just play a week, Firmino might just be out for a week or probably just 1 game, if that official confirmation comes in, I might straight away go for someone like a Sarr as well. Now, what about the other option, Gray? I think Gray is also a decent option to go for. Whether he's going to return week in, week out, whether he can be someone like a Rafinha, for example, I'm not really sure. I'm still not 100% sold on the Gray move. I think I still need to see a couple of more weeks, couple of more games to kind of understand how things are flowing for Everton. And I think if I make that Jota move, and I feel if Gray is doing really well, I can easily pick him for game week 6 as well. Yes, game week 7, Everton play Man United, and that's not ideal, but I think there's still a chance that he can get something from that West Ham game in game week 8, or even the Watford game in game week 9, and the Wolves game in game week 10. So that run is not really bad, but I would still prefer the Sarr move over Gray. So this was a transfer thought, guys. This was our team selection. I think there's still a lot hanging in the air right now with the ban news, with some uncertainty over players starting this particular week, who's playing, who's not playing. I think it's better to wait for transfers. It's better to wait for more news and more information. But this is how we line up. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about my team. Let me know how you guys are thinking about your team. If you have these kind of players, if you are considering that Ronaldo move, what is your transfer out? What is your transfer in? And how many hits are you planning to take this week? Now let's talk about captaincy, guys. I think this is a week where we have 2 to 3 great options in captaincy. Now if we get that confirmation that Ronaldo starts, I think Ronaldo is probably one of the best captain options for this particular week against a weak Newcastle defense. As I mentioned, guys, the game is at Old Trafford. It's going to be a huge occasion. And I think it's great to have Ronaldo as a captain, especially being a United fan, right? If you are a United fan and if you have Ronaldo as a captain, I think it's going to be a great watch. I think in general, it's going to be a great game. And I think to have that experience, I think he's a great option to go for. Not just that, not just the emotional appeal or that whole nostalgia factor. I think from a numbers perspective as well, I think the odds are with him scoring a goal this week against Newcastle. And Newcastle defense, we've seen there's no leader there. They struggle to contain shots, they struggle to contain chances. I think this is where Ronaldo can really benefit. Now, if you're not making that Ronaldo transfer, guys, because if you are making that transfer, definitely captain him. But let's say if you are not going for him, if you are going for someone like a Lukaku, I think that also is a great option to go for. Now, there's still a slight chance that Lukaku might not feature in the game this week, considering that he has that whole injury problem. But I still feel he's going to play this week. Do watch out for more news, guys. Do watch out for more information. Do watch out for that press conference that Tuchel gives. And he might shed some light. He might shed some information in terms of Lukaku starting this week. Now, if we get information that he's starting, I think it's a great option to go for. The Villa defense will struggle to contain Chelsea this week, guys. Mings is not there. Martinez is not there. I think those are 2 very, very important players in the Villa defense. And considering how Lukaku has featured for Chelsea so far, considering that how he's fit into the whole setup and the system, I think there's a good chance that, he can easily get a brace, maybe even a hat-trick against Aston Villa. I won't be totally surprised if he gets that kind of a haul, guys. And if you want to go for Lukaku from the very beginning, if you want to avoid that whole Ronaldo speculation, that whole Ronaldo factor, and if you want to invest in Lukaku, that is also absolutely fine. But for this particular week, he's a great option. Now, let's assume you want to play a bit different. I would say a bit different because I think a majority of the people are going to go for the likes of Ronaldo and Lukaku as captain choices this week. But if you want to play old school, if you want to play a bit safer, I think Mo Salah against Leeds is also reeking of points, guys. There's a good chance that he can get goals from this game. Leeds defense, we all know how weak is that defense. They can easily concede goals, they easily concede chances, and Mo Salah can do really well in this particular game. I think if you want to go a bit risky, go for someone like a Ronaldo. If you want to play safe, Mo Salah is an absolutely right option to go for, guys, and you won't be wrong in your choice. Now, coming to alternate choices, and this is where you can probably differ from the crowd because, yes, they are good captain choices, but they might not be the most popular this week. I still kind of think Bruno Fernandes would be captained by a lot of managers. I know most of the Ronaldo managers or most of managers who have brought in Ronaldo would be captaining him, but that might not reduce Bruno Fernandes' appeal by a great extent. We all know that Bruno Fernandes is still a great player. He can score from open play, guys. He can score free kicks, penalties, and all of that stuff. Again, whether he's going to get all those things is something that we need to see. But I think he's still a great option. He's still a good captaincy option to go for. A lot of people would be put off by the fact that Ronaldo might be a better FPL option. But probably for this week, guys, as we do not know how things are going to turn up, I think Bruno Fernandes is still a decent one to go for if you want to differentiate from the crowd. The second alternate choice that we have here is Heung-min Son versus Crystal Palace, guys. Now, there's a chance that, the Spurs midfielder might have gotten an injury in the international break. He definitely missed the game against Lebanon, guys. And I think a lot of people are saying that might have been precautionary. It might not be that serious. But I read on some of the forums that, it could be a strain. There could be a little more serious injury, and that might tempt a lot of managers to use their wildcards and probably ship out Son, right? If we get an official confirmation from Nuno in his press conference that Son is out, then probably he's of course a transfer out. But in general, if we get that information that he's he's not seriously injured and he will feature. I think he's also a great alternate captaincy option this week, guys. I think Crystal Palace could be a tricky game because Palace would sit back, they would make it difficult for Spurs to create chances to open up their defense. But I still feel Son, with his running capabilities, with his counter-attacking abilities as well, I think he could do well in this game. If you really want to take your chances, if you really want to take a shot at being differential this week, I think Son is one of the better options to go for. Again, before making him your captain, I think wait out for more information, wait out for that presser comments from Nuno if he's injured or if he's going to feature, because if he does, I think you can definitely go with him. The third option, guys, and he's a bit differential this week, is Mikel Antonio. He was a great captaincy option last week as he gave us those 11 points. And this week as well, guys, he is the informed player, he's the informed pick. So if you forget all the drama that has been happening around Ronaldo, around Lukaku, let's say if you don't want to go with a little popular choice, Mo Salah, you can easily go for Mikel Antonio as well. I really feel that, he has a great chance of scoring against Southampton. I don't really rate the Southampton defense very highly. I personally don't feel that there's a clean sheet for Southampton in that game. I think Mikel Antonio, with the form that he's in right now, I think he's a great captaincy option. He's a great option to have first of all in your team. And if you double, or if you want to double that advantage, you can easily captain him against Southampton. Yes, he's going to be a bit risky. Yes, he's going to be a bit differential. So of course, there is a lot to lose here if you don't get the captaincy right, considering that you have so many options this week. But again, the other side is that there are so many options, right? And some might return, some might not return. So this is probably a week that you can go for someone like an Antonio as well. I personally feel if you have Ronaldo, I would not captain Bruno Fernandes. In terms of alternate captain choices, if I get news or if somebody, I don't have Son in my team. If somebody has Son in their team and if you get news that he could be okay, I think you can easily captain him as an alternate option. So that'll be all from my side, guys. I really hope you'll find this video helpful in setting up your final team for Game Week 4. Make sure you hit the like button, guys, if you liked our team selection video. That'll help us reach more people on YouTube and help many more FPL managers like you. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well. There are a few unknowns right now in terms of players missing through injury, bans and all that stuff. So I would suggest to wait before making your final moves. Wait for the manager press conferences and the presser comments and only then go ahead with your changes. I think it's okay not to wildcard if your team after wildcarding is not looking a lot different. Save it for later. I think a -4 is looking okay this week. Even a -8 in the worst possible situation can be worked with. We'll be back, guys, now for the deadline stream. This will be an hour and a half before the deadline. So do join us if you have any last minute questions or transfer queries. I think it's going to be a chaotic deadline stream considering that we have so much information flowing that day. But do make sure that you join us for that. All the best to all FPL managers. Enjoy your week and I'll see you insaners next time.